hello, you beautiful listeners. It's your host, Jane, coming to you live from prison. Well, I guess to put it more accurately, I'm currently in a detention facility because the cops don't have substantial evidence to prove that I was the suspect who tried to burn down the mall. While they finalize the investigation, I've been spending my days in solitary confinement. I'm not sure, though, that this is strictly legal, because I am a juvenile without a charge, or even a record for that matter. But it seems like no one cares, including my own mother. She hasn't been to visit me once. I'm all alone. I've got no support, no one to talk to, and to be honest, I think I'm okay with that. Finally, I can be alone with my thoughts, free from the burden of feeling like it's my job to save the world, you know? I'm enjoying this quiet, but I can't stop those horrific scenes from replaying in my mind, no matter how hard I try to forget. I was told that I would soon be called for questioning. They were like, "You should prepare for it." Okay, but how? What am I supposed to say? I have no idea what they're looking for, so how can I prove my innocence? This time, I don't think the truth is going to set me free. I know very well they would think I'm crazy, but being alone isn't so bad. So I might as well tell them what really went down. Honestly, it's not like it's hard to verify. I could just stay here until the next dream comes. It's currently 2 p.m. already. The guard came and took me to this little room with a table and 2 chairs. It's cold, cramped, and unwelcoming. The investigator entered the room 5 minutes after I did. She was a stern-looking adult woman who gave off airs that she was perhaps uncomfortable questioning a literal child, or maybe she just really hates teenagers. The investigator started the questioning rather coldly. She briefly asked me what I was doing at the mall that day. I told her the truth. I tried to save people, but they didn't believe me. She then asked me, "Meaning you knew about the fire in advance, yes?" "Yes." "How did you come to know about it? Did someone else tell you, or were you the one who organized it?" She began to be more persistent. I remained silent for several seconds, looking at her straight in the eyes, and then I finally answered, "I saw the fire in my dream. This wasn't the first time I've had a premonition, either." At that, she looked at me differently, as though she'd seen me for the first time. Her attitude changed. It was a bit surprising, but her tone and body language told me that she was going to treat me like an adult instead of a bratty child. At last, someone who would finally listen to me. All I have to do now is get her to believe me, and that is the bigger hurdle. "I see. That must be how it is. You can see the future, predict horrific accidents. You see them, and yet you remain silent." Have you not heard what I just said? Obviously not, but no one believes me, no one! Do you even understand the kind of stress that I'm under? If I tell, I'll be called a criminal and be ostracized, just like right freaking now. If I keep quiet and let all those souls weigh heavy on my conscience for the rest of my life, what can I do for you to freaking believe me? I started screaming. My face was reddening, my breath was shortening. "Calm down and stop screaming." "So you say no one believes that nonsense you are talking about? Well, that's not very surprising. That's why you're making it true, aren't you? And that's what's happened to your friend Samantha. I'm well aware that it was because of you that she became severely injured." Who the hell does she think she is? How dare she blame me for that accident? I just wanted to help, that's it. I've never tried to hurt my best friend ever before, so why the hell is it so damn hard for everyone to think that I might actually be innocent? This burden is getting too hard to bear. I started crying so hard that I was not able to stop. The investigator clearly thought she had hit a nerve and that I would soon come clean. But what she didn't understand was that I was crying because of my own uselessness. I cried because the weight of all those lives is too heavy for me to carry. I cried because those people are someone's family, someone's loved ones, and their lives are being needlessly obliterated. I cried because I saw the injustice and I was not able to stop it. Also, I was so afraid that soon I would have another dream and that I couldn't do anything about it. After the interrogation, the guard brought me back to the cell. They gave me food and even some books. Great. I'm so sure that this will help. I ended up falling asleep around 6 p.m. I had gotten bored of reading. It wasn't a good enough distraction. My mind was in absolute turmoil, and the tears I shed during the interview showed no signs of stopping. That night would prove to be a restless one. I woke up because in my dream I saw the investigator being attacked and covered in stab wounds and blood. I couldn't watch the scene till the end because I had woken up. I have no idea if she survived. But I couldn't help but thinking, maybe if she were to get hurt, no one would bother investigating my case and I could just stay here forever. No, Jane, stop. How could I think something so malicious? Besides, if something happens to her, she would just get replaced and then we'd have to start all over again. Okay. Calm down, Jane. Take deep breaths. What can I do in this situation? Let's think for a second here. I'm locked up, that I know, and I've got no say on what I'm allowed to do and not to do. So, now what? How can I get word to the investigator lady that something bad is going to happen? I ran to the door of my cell and called for a guard and asked him to summon the investigator immediately, as soon as possible. But he just laughed. But I was resolute. I said that I'm ready to unravel the mystery of the fire and anything else that they want to know. I will confess to everything, but only to that specific lady and only right now. That was the ticket. It seemed like a big enough draw for them. Probably they have quotas to meet or probably get a big time promotion if they get a suspect to confess. But I know it's really up. They don't actually care about me or the people who lost their lives. Everyone wants to hurt the other just to remain innocent themselves, just to get ahead. But that's not the point at the moment. The most important thing is that the investigator will be here soon. Right. About a half hour goes by and she finally arrives. She was as curt as ever and looking oh so smug. She was glowing from happiness. She even praised me for my intention to finally tell the truth. If only she'd known what would happen and what kind of truth I prepared for her. Well, don't hesitate. Say it now, she asked impatiently. Well, all right. I had a prophetic dream. This night in my dream, I saw that you were stabbed and brought to the hospital. Unfortunately, I don't know whether you ended up alive or dead. I was not able to see the scene till the end. I had said it all with a straight face, looking her square in the eyes. What? She had asked abruptly. She was clearly caught off guard. You can ignore me, but it is how it is. This evening, this event will happen. I'm telling you this to prevent it. You can think that some ordinary little girl from a little town is somehow related to mobsters or murderers. I don't want any trouble for you. If I wanted you gone and I knew about a nefarious plot to get rid of you, I wouldn't have said anything. I wasn't able to do enough for my uncle or Samantha or the people on that plane or the people from the mall. The only power I have is seeing these dreams, but I have no power to do anything about them. The guilt and responsibility is crushing and suffocating. If I could get rid of it, I would, but I can't. At the very least, I want to use it for good, but for that, I need someone to believe me. I hope that you will be this person. And then I looked at her. We just stared at one another for a long while. She was silent, looking me over as if trying to figure out my goal in creating such a bizarre scheme. But she came up empty-handed. There was no reason to lie like this, and everything I said had been the absolute truth. The ball was in her court. What happens next was up to her. Then she stood up and without a word left the cell. The long hours of waiting began. I didn't get an answer for a while, so I had no idea what she was thinking about and what she decided to do. The wait was honestly exhausting. It was scary. If she gets killed, what happens to me? If she decides to use my warning against me and say that I'm somehow related to the killers, what happens to me? I had so many what-if questions bouncing in my head, but all I could do was keep waiting. Somewhere deep inside was a hope that the investigator believed me and that she would try to protect herself. Everything happened so quickly early in the next morning. She rushed into my cell and asked the guard to leave us alone. She told me that night someone had tried to kill her. It was someone who she managed to put in prison. He got out of jail and wanted to get his revenge, but he had failed. She protected herself because she took a chance and believed in me. She said that she even admired me. It felt rather awkward, but I saw what she had wanted, to help me. She said that she believes me, but she had no idea how to make the others believe me. She said that from now on, at the very least, I should tell her everything I see in my dreams. And maybe together we could prevent some of these accidents. She said that she would definitely get me out of here and clear my name. And then she hugged me before leaving and asked me not to be afraid. She said I wasn't alone from that moment on, and I couldn't believe it. I'm not alone anymore. Someone to be my foundation, to support, to share this heavy load with. But I knew that the work had just begun.